Hey YouTube, I want to talk about the whole Nicki Minaj situation. Over the past several years, she has been slowly and steadily declining, but within the most recent years, especially the past 2 years, it seems like this lady is just straight up free falling from grace. Her behavior is just so manic and unhinged and irrational. The way she talks, the way she acts, the way she treats people, she just seems so miserable, so bitter. And there's just something so nasty and ugly and dark about her energy and about her spirit. It just seems like darkness follows her everywhere she goes. I mean, really think about it. We never see this lady courtside at basketball games like we do other celebrities. We never see her, out shopping, or we never see her vacationing. We never see her, on yachts like we do other celebrities. It seems like she's just always hunkered down in her home, with that man and, constantly going on these manic rants on social media with her fans. Nicki Minaj has this huge platform. She has been blessed with an amazing career that she could have done so much more with. And with this platform, she decides to just spread nasty, ugly toxicity into the world. Like, Nicki Minaj has attacked several people, but one of the attacks that disturbed me the most is what she did to SZA. Okay? SZA, I'm not trying to make her out to be innocent. I'm not trying to make her out to be some angel, but SZA is truly one of the most unproblematic people in the industry. Not saying she's perfect, not saying she never had any problems with anyone, but the way Nicki Minaj attacked SZA was just so nasty, disgusting, and ugly to me. Like, SZA posted a tweet that said, Mercury is in retrograde, silly goose, don't fall for the trap, something like that. And regardless if that was a slight shot at Nicki Minaj or not, Nicki Minaj's response was just straight up unhinged, calling SZA ugly, disrespecting SZA's career when SZA is one of the most successful artists out right now. Her SOS album will be diamond status very soon. She's on tour right now. I think she's won Grammys. She's a very talented person. And it was revealed that Nicki Minaj has tried to, collaborate with SZA, do a feature with SZA, right? Nicki Minaj's response to that one tweet that SZA put, she was just body shaming SZA, calling her ugly, making fun of her looks, disrespecting her career. And it went on and on and on. And it was just like, damn, tell me how you really feel. You know what I'm saying? There was a point in time when Nicki Minaj was reaching out to SZA for a collaboration. And this is how Nicki Minaj felt about her this whole time. Nicki lying and said that she never heard SZA's music, calling SZA ugly, body shaming her, talking about her body, talking about her hair, talking about apparently, SZA likes to, draw freckles, like making fun of her, straight up bullying her. That's the proper word for it. It was straight up bullying that girl. You know what I'm saying? And that just exposed even more to me how mean and hateful Nicki Minaj is, especially towards other women. A lot of people are blaming Nicki Minaj's downfall on her husband. They're saying that her husband is taking advantage of her. He's drugging her so that he can, spend her money. He's just using her. And, ever since she got with him, ever since she married him and had his baby, her life has been going down ever since. Now, I don't disagree that her husband is a part of her downfall, but I'm not going to blame it all on her husband. Nicki Minaj is accountable. She needs to be accountable as well for her own downfall. Nicki Minaj has always been a mean-spirited person to me. When we were kids in the beginning, it wasn't as prevalent. We didn't really pay attention to it because we were just kids. We just wanted to dance and have fun and listen to the music. We just wanted to be entertained. Nicki was very out there with her personality. She was unhinged. She was almost like cartoonish. And we thought that was just entertainment at the time. But now that, in hindsight, seeing how she is now, she was showing early signs of mental illness. All the rah, 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 and acting crazy. We thought that was just the character. We thought that was just the alter ego. Her acting crazy and manic and stuff like that. We thought that was just entertainment. But I think, looking back on it now, I think that was just early signs of a potential mental disorder that she has. People have accused her of being diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. People have been accusing her of being addicted to drugs, cocaine, Percocets, stuff like that. And apparently there was a point in time when Nicki Minaj said that she did have an addiction to painkillers. If this is true, if she really did say that, that just further confirms it to me that she's on drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to drug addicts, we all know that they never get the same high that they get when they first start using the drug. So they have to start, stepping. They have to start, taking more stronger drugs to try to get that high. So to me, it's very believable that she went from painkillers to cocaine. I can see it. Nicki Minaj has been accused for years of being on cocaine, of using heavy drugs, of being a drug addict. And with this whole Diddy trial that just happened, not like we needed Diddy's trial to know that a lot of these celebrities be on heavy drugs, but that just further solidifies it to me that these people have such easy access to as much drugs as they want. And, some of these celebrities really are on heavy drugs. And I don't think it's a far-fetched idea to say that Nicki Minaj has a drug problem. But regardless of her alleged drug problem, regardless of her alleged mental health issues, I've always thought that Nicki Minaj was a mean-spirited, mean girl, okay? There's nothing wrong with being competitive. There's nothing wrong with being confident. But Nicki Minaj always came off as a misogynistic, male-centered pick-me, okay? When it came to other men in the industry, Nicki Minaj could give them their props, their respect. She wanted to collab with them. She wanted to be in their circle. She was calling herself the female Wheezy. She was so proud to be a part of Young Money with Lil Wayne, Drake, and Birdman. And, she was always surrounding herself by men. It seemed like she wanted to be one of the guys. But when it came to other women, she did not want any camaraderie with them. She did not want any unity. The times where she did act like she wanted, a sisterhood, I never thought she was genuine. Anytime Nicki Minaj played this role of, wanting to be a girl's girl, I always felt like it was self-serving. I never felt like it was genuine. Nicki Minaj collaborated with these women because it was good for her career, especially as a female rapper, where her own music wasn't enough, to really get her out there to mainstream. She really inserted herself in other people's, she almost like rode everyone else's wave to bring more of an audience to her. And we all know Nicki Minaj is a feature artist. She's a feature artist. Her biggest hits are features, okay? Her most popular music are features. When she came in the industry, she was already being pushed by Lil Wayne, who was one of the biggest rappers at the time, Drake as well. And then, she started, doing with Ariana Grande and, trying to, hop on Beyonce's wave. When Megan first came out, she tried to hop on Megan's wave. When Cardi came out, Nicki did that song with Cardi and the Migos. Like, Nicki Minaj, she did the whole thing with Doja Cat. Doja Cat gave her first #1 single. So Nicki Minaj is a feature artist. Okay, so anytime this lady tried to play like she was a girl's girl, I never believed her. I feel like she just did that because she wanted to use that other woman's audience. She always wanted to be above other women. She always felt like other women were beneath her. She always talked down on other women. She always seemed very bitter and envious and misogynistic towards other women, but she had no problem constantly giving Lil Wayne his props and constantly giving Jay-Z his props, and, being so respectful towards other men in the industry versus how she treated other women. I believe that Nicki is doing what she's doing now for several reasons. Number one, I don't think that her money is moneying the way it used to. Okay. The Barbs, her fans are delusional. They're stupid. They're dumb. They're in a cult. They cannot think logically or critically. Most of them cannot. But for the people who are outside of the cult, the people with common sense and discernment, know that this lady is in some type of financial trouble. It's been said that she has liens on all types of liens on her publishing. They're saying that the last tour that she did, she toured for free. Basically, that tour was used to pay down some of her debts, allegedly. And she was even on Twitter, talking about what happened to my tour money. I hope whoever took my tour money, puts it to good use. Like, it's clear that she's not touching a lot of the liquid cash that, was made from her tour. I think she tried to drop some press-on nails. I think she had a shoe collaboration with Payless or something like that. But outside of that, I don't see her doing anything successful as far as brand deals, as far as, endorsements and business ventures and stuff like that. She is being sued currently. Well, she was sued and the dude won because she didn't respond to the lawsuit. But she encouraged her ghetto ass, felon ass, sex offender ass husband to attack a security guard. And, the dude ended up suing them for $500,000 and she refuses to pay. So now he's going after her assets, after her home, so that he can recoup his money because she's just ignoring that. Like I said, apparently she has liens on her other assets. She was just on social media talking about somebody was committing credit card fraud against her Amex card. But the streets have been saying, way before Cardi came out and said that her husband was using her Amex card, people on the street been saying that man takes her money, he takes her credit cards, and he spends her money. He has his friends in and out of her house, buying his friends' jewelry and stuff with her money. Like, this is old tea that people have been talking about. I feel like the only reason why Nicki Minaj went on social media to talk about her Amex cards is because US Weekly that same day released an article about that man going after her house because she owes him money that she refuses to pay. Either she can't pay it or she just won't pay it. I think it's possible that she can't pay it. You know what I'm saying? Her dumbass fans like to bring up, well, oh, she owns this house and oh, she owns that. Baby, that's called a mortgage. Okay? That's called a mortgage. It's broke people all over this country right now that have mortgages. Okay? They own homes, but the home is really owned by the bank. Okay? And just because you have a lot of money coming in doesn't mean anything, because you could have even more money going out. You have debt to pay, you have taxes to pay, you have staff to pay. I think that she is in a financial crisis right now for whatever reason. Number two, I think it's that man. I think it's her husband. It's so humiliating that, her address is being publicized because her husband is a registered sex offender. They tried to keep that on the low, and when he didn't register as a sex offender, it blew up into an even bigger story. And I think that's when she really started to she was already going downhill. She was already declining, but I feel like that whole situation where he tried to, and I bet you she was the one that told him not to register. But I know she was embarrassed when he had to get put on house arrest and it was being published everywhere and the headlines were everywhere that Nicki Minaj's husband got arrested because he didn't register as a sex offender like he was supposed to in California, because that man raped a woman at knife point. This information was proven, okay, during a police investigation. The victim herself said that this happened. Her rapist ass husband admitted to it in court, and he ended up taking a plea deal, which included him registering as a sex offender. And Nicki still decided to marry this man. She decided to marry this man, have his baby, and defend him to this very day. She even defended her pedophile ass brother who was raping his 11 and 12-year-old stepdaughter. Okay? She has an allegiance to men, whether they are good men or bad men. She has an allegiance to men because she's misogynistic. And, you know, with all of the bullshit that she's been doing online, I've come to learn a lot about her. Mind you, I don't follow her. I have her blocked. I don't try to keep up with her. But, you know, she's constantly doing things to make herself go viral. She's constantly rage baiting and trolling online to make herself go viral. And turns out that, you know, Nicki Minaj's mother didn't fuck with her when she was a kid. Okay, Nicki Minaj been through a lot of traumatic shit, and she has a lot of resentment towards her mother. But apparently her father tried to kill them too. But you see how that's the misogyny in her, you know, to hate all women, to hate women because of your mother issues, but you love men despite your father trying to kill y'all and burn your house down with y'all in there. I'm not trying to get off track, but yeah, her husband being a registered sex offender, and apparently he killed somebody as well. And this man, you know, he seems like a bum. He seems like an old, unemployed, dusty bum. You know, he want to be a street nigga so bad, even though he's in his 40s. He's allegedly unemployed. Who knows what the fuck he does for a living? But, you know, I would just be so fucking embarrassed to be sitting next to him. But she's trying to save face. She's trying to act like she's so in love. She's trying to act like she loves him so much, but I'm not buying it. I think that she's miserable. I think that she's embarrassed. I think that she regrets marrying him. I think that she regrets having a kid with him. But she has to save face because of her ego. Yeah. So like I said, I think she's having financial problems. I think that her husband is stressing her out and making her miserable. And also, I think that she has mental health issues. I think she has mental issues. I don't think it's far-fetched to believe that she has some type of schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. You know, like I said, we all thought it was entertainment when we were little, but when you go back and look at her interviews, because she wasn't just doing that shit on stage and performances. She was doing all that weird tweaking shit during interviews as well. She's weird. You know, she can't get along with women. She does these weird, like, she just tweaks, you know, whenever she talks and stuff. She uses these different voices and shit. I think she might be crazy for real. I don't want to say that she's crazy or she has a mental health issue because I feel like that gives her like a cop out. But I think it is possible that she might have some type of mental disorder. Another reason why I think that this is happening to her is because of Young Money. You know, Birdman did Young Money wrong. You know, it was revealed that Birdman was not paying Lil Wayne. And if he wasn't paying Lil Wayne, I highly doubt he was paying Drake and Nicki Minaj. It got so bad that Wayne ended up having to sue Birdman. And they settled out of court. And Wayne was in so much debt that Jay-Z helped Wayne with his tax debt. And Jay-Z didn't say this. Nobody from Roc Nation said this. Lil Wayne was on stage, unprovoked, and told everybody that Jay-Z helped him in his hardest time of need. Not Nicki, not Drake, not Birdman. None of them from Young Money helped Wayne with his taxes. It was Jay-Z who helped Wayne with his taxes. So if Wayne was in that type of debt, going through those type of, you know, financial issues, okay? Why do we think it's so far-fetched that Nicki is not going through the same thing? Wayne done sold her masters to UMG. Her masters with her biggest catalog are owned by another record company. You know, the men that she centered her life around, the men that she respected and wanted to be like, Birdman, Lil Wayne, they did her dirty. And I think that she does feel a type of way that after kissing Jay-Z's ass for years, because like I said, through all of this, I learned that Nicki Minaj was damn near obsessed with Jay-Z, a huge fan of his. Her interviews and her songs talking about, you know, she would be signed to Roc Nation if she wasn't signed to Young Money, shouting out Roc Nation in her songs. talking about her respect and admiration for Jay-Z, talking about, when he said hi to her, it felt like a jock in high school saying hi to her. Like she was infatuated with that man. Her album, the Pink Print, is a play on Jay-Z's album, The Blueprint. She was obsessed with Jay-Z. And I think she feels some type of way about Jay-Z managing Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can say, oh, he owes her money and title this and title that. I don't believe it's that, because Nicki didn't have no issue with none of that until she got into it with Megan. And I think I don't think these people really did anything to her. I truly don't think they did anything to her. I think that Nicki Minaj is just a very misogynistic woman. I think she hates other women, especially young, beautiful women. I think she's envious. I think she's paranoid. And I think that it really fucking bothers her that Jay-Z, he's married to Beyonce. He's managing Rihanna. Rihanna has been a part of Roc Nation's label and management for years. You know what I'm saying? Megan Thee Stallion is managed by Roc Nation. And Nicki is and Nicki is not under the same group as these other women. And I think it bothers her. I think that after Young Money separated, I think when she left Young Money, I think she did try to get in with Roc Nation. Now, her dumbass fans will try to say that Roc Nation tried to get with her. That's a damn lie. There's no credible source anywhere stating that Roc Nation tried to sign Megan Thee Stallion. Now, Jay-Z did try to work with Lil Wayne, and Birdman threatened to sue him on that. But Birdman never stated that Jay-Z tried to get Nicki Minaj on Roc Nation. If you listen to some of Nicki Minaj's songs, she shouts out Roc Nation multiple times. She said that she would sign with Roc Nation if she wasn't signed with Young Money. She said that in the song. But now that she's not with Young Money and she couldn't get on Roc Nation, I think she does feel betrayed. I think she does think that Jay-Z hates her and he's out to get her because, why not, help her out the way he helped Lil Wayne out? Why not sign her to Roc Nation the way he signed Rihanna and Megan Thee Stallion? But the tea is, and this is coming from other people in the industry. This is coming from people who know people in the industry. They say that Nicki Minaj's attitude is really nasty. She treats people horribly. People don't want to work for her. They're stating that, she has to beg her previous employees to come work for her, and they still tell her no. So if Jay-Z don't want to sign her, it's probably because of how she treats people and how she acts behind the scenes. Her fans like to act like she's innocent and, everybody's out to get her. No, I think that Nicki Minaj is just the very nasty, mean person who has burnt all of her bridges. She has burnt so many bridges. Like I said, the way she went after SZA will never make sense to me. The way she went after SZA just exposed to me how evil she is and how anti-black she is. Because anybody who can do that to SZA on such a huge fucking platform in front of millions of people, you try to humiliate that black girl, you try to disparage and degrade her and downplay her career and her art. You talked about her looks, you called her ugly. That's never mind what you did to Megan Thee Stallion. I'm not even going to bring up Megan Thee Stallion because y'all like to villainize Megan Thee Stallion. So I'm not even going to bring Megan Thee Stallion up. But I'm talking about SZA. Anybody who can come after SZA like that on such a huge platform in front of millions of people is an evil person. And then you got this husband in your life that's not making it no better. Why would big corporations and people want to work with you? I think that Nicki burnt too many bridges. It was a combination of her misogyny and her hatred towards women. When she came in the industry, she didn't play her cards right. She didn't show other women respect, not real respect anyway. And now she has no fucking allies. That's why she's trying to, go to MAGA and kiss ass to Trump and trying to join the MAGA train. Because she has burnt all of her bridges over here. She burnt her bridges with black women. She burnt her bridges with liberal women in the industry. Like, she burnt too many bridges because she's a mean, nasty person. not a victim. She's a mean, nasty person. And everything that she's trying to project onto Jay-Z and Rock Nation is actually what she's doing. You know, accusing people of blackballing people and trying to stop other people's bags and doing mean things to people. Girl, your husband is a rapist. A convicted rapist. Your brother is a convicted child rapist, and you sat up there and you defended him, but you got the audacity to act like you standing for some shit when you defended your pedophile ass brother and your rapist ass husband. You sitting up here trying to kiss ass to Trump, and Trump was literally found liable in a court of law of the rape of a 13-year-old child, and he's been confirmed to be an Epstein associate. But you trying to sit up here and act like you standing for some shit? She just fake. She's fake. She's disingenuous. She's disgusting. She's toxic. And I think that everything that she's getting right now is karma. I think that right now she's experiencing karma. I think she's a bad person. I think that, you know, everything that she accuses of other people is things that she does. You know, for you to get on social media, even if you and Cardi B don't like each other, that was some hating ass shit for you to try to take Cardi B's moment away from her. You are 40 something years old. You were once considered the rap queen. You sold all these records. You done went on tours, but you gonna sit up there and pick a fight with Cardi B and try to like sabotage Cardi B's happiness during her first week of her second album? Why aren't you on vacation? And it's crazy because the day that Nicki did that, it was her son's birthday. That's how you know she's bitter. How is it your son's birthday and you're the great, and you consider like the queen of rap at one point, but you on here trying to fuck up Cardi B's happiness during her album, during the week of her album? And then for you to that's how I know you jealous. For you to then, you know, she talked about beautiful culture, Cardi B's 7-year-old daughter, calling culture ugly, calling her culture vulture, you know, calling her a monkey and all this other shit. Bitch, culture is gorgeous, and you know that. You are so jealous. And this ain't the first little girl that Nicki Minaj has come after. Y'all remember? She went after Stormi as well, which is Kylie Jenner's daughter. I'm telling y'all, Nicki Minaj is misogynistic. You know what I'm saying? She's misogynistic. She don't like women, and she don't like little girls either. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so you was trying to take Cardi B's moment from her, and then for you to get on social media and say, "Oh, all of her endorsements, all of her sponsors need to cut ties with her now." You jealous, envious ass bitch. Just because you don't have no real sponsors right now, just because you don't have no real endorsements right now, you gonna try to stop Cardi's endorsements? That is some hating ass shit. That's how you know Nicki sits back and she watches Cardi. She watches Cardi like a hawk. All of this, her Nicki's hate towards Megan, which eventually led to her hate towards Jay-Z, it goes back to Cardi. Because Cardi came in the industry and did something that Nicki Minaj couldn't do, which was get a #1 single. A real #1 single. Bodak Yellow was a real hit. It was a real organic hit that the general public loved. You know, Cardi didn't have a bunch of fans online organizing streaming farms and, you know, having people setting up multiple Spotify accounts to stream the same song. No, that's not what happened. Bodak Yellow was a real hit, and it was a solo song that Cardi did. No features, no collaborations, just Cardi herself. And that was the first rap song by a woman to go #1 on the Billboard 100 in a very long time. And at that point, Nicki didn't have a #1 single, so she was sick. And then Cardi got that Grammy, and Nicki is Grammyless. Nicki was sick. Nicki was sick. She was sick about that. And then for this bitch Nicki to talk about, oh, Cardi came into my culture. Bitch, Nicki, you're not even American. You're Trinidadian. You not you immigrated here. You immigrated to the United States. So you can't claim hip hop as your culture that you can gatekeep from other women regardless of their race, regardless of their ancestry, because bitch, you're not black American either. And the only time this bitch Nicki claims to be black is when she's going after other women. And the other time she wants to be Trinidadian and Indian and all this other stuff. But when it comes to arguing with a woman who she don't think is black, that's when she want to use the black card and the culture card and all this other shit. You was just using racial slurs against another black man. You was going off on beautiful SZA, a beautiful black woman who makes good music, and from what I've seen, like I said, SZA's not perfect, but she didn't deserve that shit that Nicki did to her. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens to Nicki going forward. But I think that Nicki has nothing to lose at this point. I think she burnt a lot of bridges. I think that her money is not money in the way it used to. I think her husband is stressing her out. I think that she may be abusing drugs. I think that she may have some type of mental health situation going on, whether it's depression, schizophrenia, bipolarism. I don't know, but she's not well. And I think that her trying to, attack other people, trying to go after other people, I think that's all to distract from her shit. Because her husband's stay having her in court. Her husband's rape victim is suing them. That man that her husband assaulted is suing them. And then she allegedly got all these liens on her publishing and on her properties and shit. She's in hot water. And I think that's why she's trying to go over to the MAGA side, because MAGA has no morals, they have no ethics, they have no nothing. So I think that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to venture into conservatism and MAGA, because she's done burnt too many bridges. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens to her. I don't like Nicki. I'm not a fan of her. I frankly don't care what happens to her, because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the way she talks about black women. I'm sick of the way she treats women in general. I'm sick of her being a hypocrite and trying to project negativity on other people's lives just because she fucked her own life up. I'm tired of it. So whatever happens to her happens. We'll see.